Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, really good, Jess. How are you getting on this evening?
Yeah, good, thank you. Bit cold down here in Wanaka, but it's a good week nonetheless.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, definitely a frosty night last night and nice and clear tonight as well. We've just jumped off our group Zwift session, which always means it's feeling pretty good at this time of the day, actually. Definitely uplifted with a whole bunch of people sort of joining us for that tonight. How's everything going for you at the moment? Have you been out and about sort of exploring the Wanaka tracks and trails and things?
Absolutely. Trev and I did a double run day today. So he's sleeping next to me, utterly exhausted. But yeah, it's been a good day, and then up early for a swim tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So we've got a pretty good show tonight, haven't we?
absolutely. We've got our Paralympic Special tonight with Scott Martlew and Anna Grimaldi.
Yes, exactly. Number 55, actually. We've been doing this for a little
55.
while now,
Yeah,
which is pretty
absolutely.
awesome.
50.
Yeah, absolutely. So Evo Cycles is taking charge tonight and sponsoring the show. We've got an Evo Cycles prize pack to give away. So that's pretty cool. And so basically, what your job is but to win that, basically give us some feedback, ask a question during the show, or just make a comment about how awesome Scott and Anna are as we go, basically, and that'll go in the draw. And we're gonna draw out our winner from last week's True Fleece Team CP beanie that we had to give away shortly as well.
Nice. Yeah. So get those comments in. And if you've got any questions, flick those in as well. And if there's a particularly good one in there, we'll ask the guys later in the show. But otherwise, just shower them with praise. Yeah. Gotta love that.
How awesome they are. Absolutely. No, that's right. So just going back to the winner of our True Fleece beanie, Andrew Wesley, Aussie. He has been, involved in our Zwift sessions actually and mixing it up, charging from the front and hurting me on a Friday morning, which has been pretty cool. So this is winging its way to Australia, the black NZ beanie. So he said, really loved the story from last week, loved his mindfulness and approach to life, so much gratitude, such an inspiration. So that was pretty awesome. Other stuff that's been going on, we've got our great Team CP bake-off that happened across lockdown. So got a little bit out of
amazing. There's been some great recipes, pictures coming in. I have to say I've baked a few that have come in that I've seen on Facebook as well. And one of my favorite ones has made it onto the list for tonight.
Okay, yeah, good stuff. So let's go through 4 categories. Kushla Jackson, our dietitian, had the pretty tough task of trying to do some judging as well. So well done, and thank you, Kushla, for that. So we had a plant food challenge category that she put out there. How many different plant foods can you put in one meal? So Scott Chamberlain, 15 different plant foods. That's insane.
15.
So yeah, that's he's done very, very well there. I didn't even know there was 15 different plants available, so he's done super well. We had our highly commended category. So Tim Farmer took this out with his raspberry white chocolate oat slice, which was left. Apparently, it was so good that he wasn't quick enough to actually take a photo. Melissa Taylor's cream puffs and Laura Walken's pink Team CP cookies made it in second and third place as well. Best attempt at health and at some healthier baking.
Yeah.
Yes. Chris Lucy for his muesli bars took that out, as you can see in the picture there. Emma Grimman with her cookies and Josephine Allen with her bliss ball. So well done for attempting to do something a little bit healthier off the back of sort of my custard square. So well done, team. And this is probably for me and for most people the most sought after category, is the most that I actually wanted to try. So Lizzie Morgan, well done. The pecan fudge brownies. A super awesome effort. Look at those. They look pretty blooming tasty. Kim Sinclair with the lemon meringue pie and Isabel Platt with the Oreo brownies. They just sound tasty for a start anyway, don't they? Jeepers.
Yeah, great job. And thanks for everyone that sent those in. It's kind of brightened up lockdown a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. So we're basically actually working on a bit of a cookbook, bringing some of those things together that we're gonna put out in the next little while. So keep an eye out for that as well. Other stuff that's going on, our summer group sessions are about to start. Daylight savings is actually just around the corner. You'll probably notice that the days are getting longer, and that signals the start of our mountain bike group sessions, our Wednesday road sessions, our Thursday run group's going to head to the hills and off road, and our Tuesday run session with the front runner Colombo is about to get underway as well. So if you're local to Canterbury, they're about to happen. We're still going to keep going with our Zwift sessions on a Monday and a Friday morning as well. So get involved in those. Other stuff, our coast to coast skills days are tomorrow and the next day. So it's the first day I'm going to get into on the rivers and back in my boat since February. So that'll be good. Hopefully I can still in my boat tomorrow. And then also our TCP Contours kit is about to be re-released with a few extra items, some vests, socks, adventure shorts, etc. So keep a wee eye out for the Team CP kit going on as well. Yeah,
great. Exciting. And so now we've got a couple of introductions to make to our guests this evening.
Yeah, do you want to do that, Jess? Do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, so we've got Scott and Anna joining us tonight. So Scott represented New Zealand in the recent Paralympics in Tokyo in the 200-meter kayak sprint and the 200-meter outrigger canoe sprint. So Scott sustained a thigh injury during a rugby game in 2010. Which then developed into an infection and subsequently lost his leg. And so over the last 10 years, he's shown immense resilience and developed into a world-class paddler and went to Tokyo as a real medal chance. So tonight, I'm really excited to hear you talk to Scott about his time in Tokyo and his journey to get there. And then after Scott, we are going to welcome Anna. And she's also going to talk to us about her Tokyo Paralympic experience. And so going in, she was the defending T47 Long Jump champion. So she's going to talk to us about that experience, the benefits, but challenges, and kind of dealing with that pressure and the expectations to perform. So it's, again, going to be great to hear you talk about kind of that build-up in the lead-up to the games, the event, and what's it been like to compete at this high level?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool actually just to chat to these guys, to learn more about them, to do some research and things. So pretty amazing people and some pretty epic stories and also some pretty amazing performances as well. So shall we bring Scott into the show if he's in the background there, Jess?
Absolutely. Welcome.
How's it going? Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing, Scott? You're in lockdown. You're sitting in Auckland in MIQ, sort of just waiting your time before you're allowed out to catch up with friends and family and sort of celebrate with them.
Yeah, pretty. Oh, sorry, you just cut out now. But just counting down the days really. Get let out on Monday, so looking forward to that.
Nice work. Tell us a bit about your paddling background, Scott. How did you get into it? Is it something that you were doing prior to your injury? Just give us a bit of background of where you've come from, obviously, from where you are today.
Yeah, so I started paddling quite sort of towards the end of high school. Really, I started in the so all my life I sort of played rugby, and I was sort of looking towards the first 15 rugby at high school, and then one of the summer sort of activities that sort of team bonding that Shirley Boys High and Christchurch got the team doing was dragon boating. So I sort of followed my older brother into that, and then met a few. So doing dragon boating and Wakarama at year 11 in high school, so 16-year-old. So and then that sort of met a few mates in that team, and that led to surf lifesaving and kayaking. So sort of just really found the water sports really quite late in the piece, sort of to get into competitive stuff. But sort of towards the end of high school, and the rest history now, really.
Yeah, good stuff. That's awesome. Yeah. So it's not something that you picked up post injury. It's actually something that you were pretty handy at and loved beforehand.
Yeah, so I did kayak, dragon boating and outrigger canoe for I think it was 3 years before the injury, and then I was doing kayaking for a year before, and I was sort of starting to think this is something that I sort of might want to take further and start actually focusing on it, and sort of I was starting to look at eyeing up the Olympic sort of dream and all of that, and and then sort of that's around the time when I sort of had my injury at high school.
Yeah. So what is your injury? How did it occur? Tell us a little bit about that, the background of it, and sort of what happened after that. When was it?
Yeah, so it happened. It was in May of 2010. I was sort of that year. Obviously, I was doing the kayaking and started to think of going places with it, and I was sort of hesitant on whether I'll play rugby that year. So I sort of got convinced into playing, and then sort of made that. I was in the first 15. We had a curtain raiser game for the Crusaders at AMI Stadium, the old Jade Stadium, and I took this. So it was quite a big game. Took a knock to the leg in the first half, so my leg sort of went dead, and I sort of thought nothing of it really. Well, it was extremely sore, but I managed to sort of run it off and carry on playing, and finished off the second half, and so actually scored the last try on the game. So that was unknowingly it was my last ever try. Did you win? Once did the team win? We did win. Yeah, and we were sort of looking like we were going to have a good season as well. So then sort of my leg obviously got quite sore after the game, and went to the doctors the next day and went and got a scan as well, and it showed a 10-centimeter tear in the quadricep with a bit of fluid surrounding it. And then obviously went home, went back to the doctor because it was sort of continuing. My condition was sort of deteriorating, and I sort of started to get sick, and so got sent to A&E, and then got admitted to hospital. And then I was in hospital for like 3 or 4 days before the doctors actually found what was going on, and it wasn't until they operated, which is when they found a flesh-eating sort of bacteria ravaging my leg, and sort of they had to, I was sort of out to it, and they sort of had to make the quick call and spoke to my parents about amputating my leg to save my life. So so that was it. All happened pretty quickly, and I sort of woke up. I was in intensive care in a coma for a month, and then so I sort of woke up to what had happened really. So it was pretty traumatic time of my life, but that's sort of when the recovery started from then really.
Yeah, traumatic for you, waking up and like as you're groggy and coming around and figuring out what the heck's going on, but also for your family dealing with that as well. That would have been horrendous. Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah, no, it took a huge toll on the family and friends, but it's definitely had a lot of support around that whole time.
Yeah, nice one. And as part of your rehab, getting back on deck and sort of starting to sort of go, okay, well, what can I do and where am I going? Obviously, with that kayaking background, friends and support, sort of there was a paddle that was sort of given to you to say, looking forward to seeing you back out there. Sounds like that was a bit of a driving force for you to sort of get restarted and have a bit of a goal to drive towards?
Yeah, no, definitely. I had, so I was in a surf canoe team, and we sort of got given a surf canoe blade from one of my mates, and the whole team was sort of like, we want to see you back out on the water, and we sort of don't want this to stop you from getting on the water again. And I sort of was a bit hesitant at the time. I didn't really know if I could still balance in a boat and still sit upright in a surf canoe or a kayak or anything. So I was, but that definitely helped me along and gave me a lot of sort of courage to get back in and give it a go. The recovery sort of started from the hospital really. So when I got out of hospital, sort of went down to the it was a KL2 gym actually, and the physio there, we sort of started. He knew I had done paddling and wanted to sort of look at getting back into it, so we sort of started in the rehab mode of sort of trying to get me strong again, but also looking at like sort of paddling movements, and we were sort of doing that sort of those exercises in the gym to help that as well. So that was quite cool to have that helping me along with the recovery.
Yes.
And then there's the whole story of the surf canoe stuff as well. Like went into March of 2010. Went to this first ever surf lifesaving nationals. I was in the 4-man surf canoe crew, and we won a gold and silver in the short and long course events there. And then I lost my leg in May of that year, and then the following surf nationals, I was back in the crew in March of 2011, back in the crew, and we won another gold and silver medal. So it was a pretty special moment, and huge achievement in the sporting career. Really.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? How long did it take to get back in the boat after that injury and the accident? Like, was it like once the accident happened? Obviously, you were in a coma for a month.
Yeah,
like 6 months or so.
I think it was. It might have been 5 or 6 months. I think. I started out in the pool swimming a bit, and then got back into the surf. Obviously, it would have been when it warmed up a bit in the summer. So. It would have been towards the end of that year, so like October, November, I think. Yeah.
What an awesome thing to do with a group of guys that and to sort of think, actually, we might be able to do this. We're going right now, and then actually execute it as a comeback. That would have been pretty special.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, they sort of said, we don't really care how fast we go, and we just want you back in the boat, and they sort of accepted that, and then we managed to actually go all right, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. And you can't just sit there sort of and let everyone else do it. You're putting a fair crack at it as well, because it's obviously competitive. Everyone else is wanting to beat you, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no,
Yeah, nice. Kayaking hasn't always been part of the Paralympics, though, and obviously that was starting to maybe evolve to be the goal before you had that accident. When did you find out that it was actually maybe something that was going to be added and that you might actually be a chance to go?
Yeah, so it was around just after that surf nationals actually of 2011. That was when it was announced that it was going to be in the 2016 games. So that was sort of when I got back into the boat and started I was like, here's a bit of a goal that sort of want to aim for. So got back into the kayak, and it didn't really take that long to get my balance back and sort of regain the feeling in the boat. I guess that's sort of similar to riding a bike. Once you learn, you can come back pretty quickly and get that feeling back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
There's definitely lots of times like falling in though, as you do.
and that's on the Avon, is it? Is that where you're sort of learning to get back in the boat?
No, it was actually, so the earthquakes happened just after that. So there was obviously all the sewage in the Avon, and ended up going out to the Kaipoi River. I started out in Pegasus, out at Pegasus and on the outskirts of Christchurch, for anyone that doesn't know. Just the lake out there, and then had a couple of goes in there, and then shifted back to the Kaipoi River with the rest of my sort of old squad that I was training with beforehand. They were out there training for like junior worlds and stuff. So I just rejoined them, and then I was away. Really.
Perfect. Yeah, nice work. How did you get selected for Rio? Because this is your second games that you've just got back from.
So Rio was a bit of a funny, or like a bit of a story to it actually. So I initially missed selection in May of 2016, and I was sort of, obviously all the Russian doping scandal was going on, and so I missed selection, came back to Christchurch and sort of said I want to sort of carry on training, and sort of, I've done all this training and I didn't really want to just stop and do nothing really. And so I jumped back in the kayak, and I did like a few downriver races like the Brass Monkey and whatnot. And really enjoyed that. And then jumped back I was back in the swimming pool with my mates, and sort of started to, enjoy training again. And also in the back of my mind, I was watching the news, and I saw this Russian doping scandal happening, and the Olympic athletes had the ban. So I was sort of had in the back of my mind that there might be a chance that I could get selected if the Russians got kicked out. So because of the I just missed qualification by like 100th of a second, so I was I was sort of next one off the ranks. So it wasn't until 2 weeks out before the games that I got the call that I'd been selected, and I was going to the games. So it was quite a different build up, really. It was sort of, was I going, wasn't I? And then I was, and it was all sort of all guns blazing to get everything organised and get my boat there in time and everything. So it was quite a rushed sort of campaign, that one.
Yeah. So how long did you have from when you knew to racing?
So it was 2 weeks before the opening ceremony. So it was 2 weeks before that, and then I raced towards the end of the Paralympics, so it would have been probably another almost 2 weeks. So
right, okay,
it was quite short notice, that's for sure.
Yeah, like just about sort of taking your kayak on as hand luggage, just about to get it there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think it did get air freighted because I have a kayak based over in Germany, and it got air freighted from there to Rio. So,
yes, yeah. So into that, give us a bit of a background outside of the Paralympics of your best results. What are your best results that you've had over the past 10 years?
So the last since 2018. So I'll go back, just take a step back to the classification system in kayaking. In Rio, in the build up and up until 2018, I was in the class KL3. So there's KL3, KL2, KL1. KL3 is the most able, and then goes down to least able KL1. So I sort of always thought that I shouldn't have been in KL3, and I was classified into the wrong category. And I did like talk to people about this and raise it with a few people, and so nothing really happened from there. But then in 2017, there was a study being done on my classification at World Champs, and the girl doing the study said to me, "Have you actually had your final classification? Because I don't think you're in the right category." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've been saying this quite a few times since." So then she went and organised a reclassification at the next international regatta, which was in 2018. So once I got reclassified, I was sort of back in KL3, I was sort of sitting like sort of back end of the A final, start of the B final sort of thing. And then all of a sudden I got reclassified, and then that sort of put me to being really competitive in the KL2 category. So once that happened, I won in 2018. I got 2 silvers, 1 silver at World Cup, and then a silver at World Champs, and then the following year, 2019, I got a gold at the World Cup, and then a bronze at the World Champs. So probably that World Cup result was probably obviously it was a gold, but it was probably the best sort of race it was pretty much it was a PB, and sort of race sort of had the race plan down pack, and sort of performed pretty well at that one. So that's probably like the number one performance over the last 10 years. Yeah.
And that just means that you're actually competing against people that are the same ability as you. Like it's a more level playing field, so you can actually compete with them rather than being sort of the just, no matter how hard you train or what you're doing, you've actually just don't have the functionality to be able to perform at that level.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. So it's definitely a lot even playing field now, and it's it's definitely sort of, I was getting towards after Rio, I sort of said to myself that I'd go another year and just see how fast because I sort of felt that I could still go faster than what I did in Rio, and sort of wanted to give it another crack. So I did, and then once that classification thing happened, it sort of gave me another boost and sort of reignited the flame sort of thing to keep pushing even harder than I had been sort of before.
Yeah, nice. You've got one leg. How does one leg affect your paddling compared to somebody that has two?
Yeah, so like kayaking sort of, you definitely, your leg drive is a huge part of kayaking. So you're sort of driving off the leg that you're the side you're paddling on. So yeah, obviously, like I try drive like push and pull. So I got this foot strap on my boat on the foot plate, and I sort of drive on the right hand side, and then pull on the left side, but then also trying to hold pressure on the foot plate at the same time, sort of thing, if that makes sense. So it's sort of a combination between the push and the pull on the left. Yeah.
How do you steer? What are you doing in terms of steering in regards to, because it will be like,
so
you just have.
Yeah, so K1s are generally, they've got a single tiller bar like in the middle of the foot plate, and your feet go either side of the tiller bar. So I've got a double tiller bar, so I put my foot inside the middle, and then I can shift my foot either side, each way, and it just works pretty similar to a single bar setup. Yeah.
Do you do you aim to not touch that tiller bar, not touch the rudder system at all in 200 meters of paddling? That's taking about 40.
Pretty much. It's you don't really need much steering if at all in a 200. So you just sort of I keep my foot in the dead center, and it doesn't really, unless there's like a huge wind or a crosswind or something. You don't really need to touch it. It's pretty much like some guys in the lower categories for paracanoe, they actually have a rudder lock. So they obviously, like KL1, all of them are paralyzed from the waist down, so they obviously can't steer. So they just lock their rudder on the side of the boat. It locks the cable tight, and so they just lock their rudder straight, and away they go. So obviously they'd struggle a bit more in a serious crosswind or something, but.
So you have to use a bit of blade as well, just to try and keep themselves going straight if they need to. From one side to the other. What were your goals going into Tokyo? Was it? You're obviously a medal chance for sure. Was it gold?
No, definitely. I was definitely gunning. Like, what the goal was to get a gold in Tokyo, and so I was quite like sort of had mixed emotions. Sort of coming out and sort of fourth. I got fourth place. So it definitely had mixed emotions after that result, sort of being so close as well. So it was just I felt the training was going pretty well, like leading into it, and just there's looking back at it now, there's always you always look back and say, oh, maybe we did too much of this and not enough of this sort of thing, but that's sort of what this period is about, for reflection and then changing things to.
You finished fourth. You were very, very close. How close were you to third?
I think between second and fourth, it was like 200th of a second or something. So it was pretty close. That's for sure. As
that's so cool.
But that's sport, really, isn't it? It's anything can happen on the day, and even if you're doing training pretty well and all that. But
that's right. And you're sitting sort of hanging out, NMIQ, sort of I guess reflecting on that, and it all goes back to being proud of your effort and what you've done. Like, how do you feel about that now in terms of like, there's things to do, but does that just fuel the fire?
No, definitely. Definitely proud of the effort I put in, and happy that I definitely gave them all on the day, and so now it's just sort of back to reflecting on the training leading into it, and the whole sort of journey really from in the last past sort of year and beyond, and then sort of I'm definitely keen to go through to Paris 2024, so sort of making plans for that now, and also just looking at local some more local events. I'm sort of going to go back to a bit of surf lifesaving this summer, and because got nationals down in Christchurch this year, so quite keen to have a crack at that. And then also what the Wakarama as well. And I'd be definitely keen to have a go at the old downriver, and I was quite keen to have a go at the coast to coast paddle at some stage as well. But maybe not this time. Maybe we'll see what happens in a year or so.
Yeah,
but,
nice.
Yeah, definitely a bit of fun, eh?
Yeah. We've
that's
had
awesome. Sorry, Jess,
we've had a great comment come in from Facebook, and there's some questions coming in, but I just wanted to read this one out. It's from Trish Jones, and she says, "It is really heartening and amazing to see a patient that I cared for in the intensive care unit being totally amazing and representing New Zealand. Very inspiring, and congratulations."
How good is that?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, it's pretty awesome hearing that. And and there was sort of huge thank you to everyone that looked after me back then and ever since as well. So it's quite cool to hear messages like that.
Yeah, nice. So Scott, reflecting back on the last 10 years and all that you've been through, what advice would you give to others that are going through tough times? Because obviously you've been through plenty, and you're really thriving at the moment and giving it heaps. What advice would you give to others?
I guess like at the back at the time, it was sort of just taking each day as it comes, sort of thing, and having sort of small goals and having something to look forward to, and then as I sort of recovered, it was more about sort of setting those more long-term goals and really going for it. And obviously it's definitely going to be hard and it's going to be a struggle sometimes, but you just sort of got to keep pushing through and giving it your all, really.
Nice. There's another question that's come through from Lizzie Morgan. She works with children with disabilities, and a big part of her job is supporting them to get them into para sports. What's your best advice that you'd give them about taking up para sports?
Probably contact the local parafed, like Parafed Canterbury, and they've definitely got some good roots into any sports, really. They'll be able to help you out, or even just get in touch with your local clubs. And I'm definitely keen to help sort out some sort of grow the sport of paddling as well down at Outrigger Canoe Club, and sort of quite keen to even if there's more sort of para canoe paddlers that are keen to get into it in Christchurch, I'm definitely keen to help out. And and then sort of that goes for anyone, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And there's definitely a great scene down there on Avon, and lots of opportunities to get involved in paddling, and great to hear that as well. Another question actually coming, there's lots of good stuff here, from Billy Powell. Does Scott find motivation predominantly through the competition and the competition and giving it heaps and comparing yourself to others, or is it more the process of training and improving your own personal performance? Because you're clearly a talented athlete.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like, I definitely do like that competition and sort of competition between other people, and then it's just really sort of striving to find ways to better yourself as well, in every aspect of life, really. Like whether it be sport or your career outside of sport or anything else. It's just trying to find those things that help.
Nice.
Great. And as we kind of wrap up here, what are you looking forward to most as you get out of MIQ and head home?
Probably see my little puppy, or she's not really a puppy now, Indy, 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel and partner, and and then probably just catch up with everyone back home, and head out for a coffee, and probably go head into town as well.
You were saying that before the show you had a beer or two to drink, but you haven't really drunk them yet because you probably need to do it with other people just to celebrate. So we're going to more than a coffee.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. can't be drinking in the room by myself. Eh?
No, that's awesome, Scott. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, super well done. It's been really cool to follow you just so quietly in the background over the last few years, and it's so good to see you performing well. Like obviously you were the top qualifier coming into that final, and it was all on the line, and you definitely put it all on the line, and yeah, super proud of the way you've performed and the way you've held yourself, and you really appreciate you coming on board and sharing your journey all the way from the last sort of 10 years or so and prior to that. So yeah, all the best for the future. We'll definitely be cheering on and following your progress and look forward to seeing how good you can go and how fast you can go next time out.
Yeah. No, thanks very much for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Well done, Scott. Look after yourself.
Thanks.
Catch up soon.
See ya.
Thank you.
Hey, good, Jess.
Oh, that was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And I was just going to say thanks to everyone that's been sending in some comments and questions. It's been great to see this coming in. And just a reminder, we've got a prize pack to give away from Evo Cycle, so keep them coming in.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. That's 100%. And in terms of your takeaway, what's your key takeaway as a result of talking to Scott?
For me, the key takeaway is just how, not quickly, but kind of the mental, physical resilience just to get straight back in there and get back in the boat. And that just blew me away, the turnaround to getting back out there and to winning medals again.
Yeah, that's right. And his friends and the support that he had around him to be able to help achieve that. One thing I'm a wee bit disappointed about that we didn't find out about his favourite ice cream flavour. We missed that question, so we might have to put that up later. But that's all good. So we've got Anna Grimaldi, who's sitting in the back there, waiting to catch up. So Anna, defending champion from Rio. And had it all to play for, didn't you, in Tokyo? Anna, how are you getting on?
Hey, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's so good to be able to watch you. Like, you were so excited. Like, it was so awesome to see you on the TV in terms of jump and it all kind of when it happened and you won and you were just absolutely fizzing. It was pretty infectious, I have to say.
Yeah, I think we'd been planning to jump in Tokyo for a while, and it was just really a relief to be there and to be healthy and to be able to have the opportunity, because for a while there it looked like we might not be able to, but I think my main emotion was relief and happiness. I think we had been through a lot in the last 5 years, and Rio sort of felt like a bit of not an accident, but like it was a shock to me that I won there, and to come back and try and back it up 5 years later was a little bit scary for me. But I think we were just, as a team, overly just stoked that it all kind of came together. So yeah. Yeah.
As you sit in MIQ now, does it even feel real that it's happened?
Not really. I think this is sort of a weird time. We're like packed up the next day and we're shipped out of Japan pretty much straight away, and I didn't really have any time to just sort of sit and be with it yet. But yeah, I feel like I'm in this weird like holding zone where we're just sort of like in transit still, and I'm sure when I get home and be able to share it with the people that helped me win it and the people that have supported me and all of that, I think that'll make it feel more real. But I think it's on my desk, and I think just having it around, I look over and I go, is that mine? I don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, it's almost like you're sitting on a boat sort of sailing back, isn't it? It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a funny time, a bit anticlimactic, but I'm really looking forward to getting home, and obviously we have to do this, so that was always part of this isn't a surprise. We had to do this, we knew. So
yeah, that's good, and so good that you were able to compete. There was a lot of talk about the Olympics might go on, but the Paralympics probably might not, sort of thing. So we're all just hoping that it was going to go ahead. But yeah, it all happened and ticked it off, and how good.
Yeah, I think we were all holding. I know the Paralympic side of things were all holding our breaths for the Olympics and just praying that they did their job and were careful and COVID didn't get absolutely out of control there, because I think that could have jeopardized us. Totally. But I think, I think, it was a relief to get on that plane, and I was one of the last, I think maybe Scott and stuff they left before me. I was the last, Paralympian to leave the country, and it was a lockdown, the last week of training. So it wasn't, ideal for me. I didn't get into the pit for, a good week and a half. I was, at home training on grass, and had a home gym set up. We managed to scoot down to the gym and grab as much equipment as I needed to get me to be able to be ready to get on the plane. But I think the not jumping part was kind of hard. Mentally, I was already nervous, and to have that sort of happen last second was a little bit stressful. But I mean, we made it work.
You were lucky to even get out. In hindsight, like that's good. That was able to be able to make work with all that sort of infrastructure of just not happening of level 4. Our flights. Our flights got cancelled. I think we sort of only locked them in maybe 4 or 5 days before we left, and just to get up to Auckland, our flight to Japan was all good, but it was the domestic travel that was the really tough part. I mean, being from Dunedin made it a little bit trickier as well. But we made it work, and looking back now, I mean, I'm just happy we made it out. At the time it was stressful, but yeah. Makes for a better story though, doesn't it?
For sure. I mean, I feel like not a lot in my journey the last 5 years has gone completely right. And so it's just typical that, it was, something else happened just before we left.
Nice. A lot of events these days give out medals for finishing, and I've got a rule that you need to wear that medal for at least the rest of the day, rather than just shoving it in your pockets and walking away. How long did you wear yours for after winning it?
I didn't really wear it for very long. We went straight from the event to the medal ceremony, and it was all very cool, and we waited around, and everyone was so lovely, and they all clapped every time you looked at anybody. It was awesome. But so I put it on, and then I was straight to drug testing. It's just sort of a routine thing, and an awesome routine thing that, so I thought it might be a bit much to be peeing into a cup with a gold medal dangling around my neck. I thought that might be a bit much, so I took it off then.
That's fair. Do you have it? You said you have it there. It's just there. Yes. I think you probably need to wear it for the rest of this interview, don't you? Since we haven't really worn it very much. Yeah.
I haven't. It's so big. You won't be able to see it.
Can you show it? Give us a bit of an. Look at that.
Yeah, awesome. It's pretty awesome. It's a cool, and it's got the braille on the back, as well. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty heavy, and I can't wait to compare it to my one from Rio as well. I can't even remember people be like, it looks bigger, or is it heavier? And I'm like, I don't know.
Not sure. So put it on. I just hope you don't sustain an injury as part of this interview.
Yeah, no, we get a strained neck.
I haven't done any.
It's a bit low, but it's there.
Yeah, exactly. That counts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so good. So we're sorted for our interview now. That's good. So tell us about. You mentioned that the last 5 years weren't super smooth. You sustained a stress fracture in your foot in the lead up. How did it take to heal? And did you have doubts that you would actually end up making it to the start line? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming back from Rio, I just sort of felt a little bit like my feelings towards the gold was that I felt a little bit of like an imposter. Like I'd only been in the sport 3 years. I wasn't the most qualified in the field. I actually wasn't on paper anywhere near the best jumper on the field. And I was a bit like, oh my gosh, did I deserve to win this? And we sort of threw everything into training, and my foot started playing. So we came back in about September. My foot started playing up in January, and we sort of got it under control for the majority of the middle of the year. And then I went to World Champs in July, and the wheels just completely fell off. I ran a 200, could barely walk off the track. I was ringing everyone that I knew back home to try and get it sorted out. And we just really had no idea at that stage what was going on. And we kind of got it manageable, and I hadn't really jumped basically in 3 weeks before we got to World Champs. done a couple of sessions and they were horrific, and I could barely walk the rest of the day. And we got to World Champs. I was lining up, did the 200-meter heats, and I hobbled off the track. I could not. There was no way I was going to be able to run the final. I made the final, which isn't a miracle in itself. But yeah, I strapped on some ice and hobbled my way out. It was tough because I can't use crutches either because I got one hand, so it was a bit tough. But yeah, basically
out to the start line.
Yeah, we just sort of decided to withdraw from the 100 and the 200 heat at final and try and get me better for the long jump. And basically I did nothing. I did a little bit of gym work, tried to keep off my foot, and was really, on the day I went out there and I was held together by pieces of tape and a bit of a wish and a hope, and that was that. And I was actually leading until the last round. I mean, I'd do my jumps, I'd collect myself. It was the worst experience probably of my life, and I'd collect myself, sprint down the runway, jump, and then just absolutely want to just crawl back to my seat. I just couldn't do it. It was so tough. And I was leading till the last round, and the 3 jumpers before me beat me in the last round, and I ended up coming fourth. My last jump, I got a foul. So I didn't really, I mean, it was the biggest jump of the competition by a long way, but it didn't count because my foot was over the board. And I came fourth by 1 centimetre, and I think I missed the gold by about 4. And that was pretty tough. I mean, in hindsight, now knowing that I have a broken foot, I can't even believe I got out there, and I can't believe I was disappointed with fourth. I mean, that's unreal. But it wasn't till we got home, and it was actually 2 months after we got home that I found out I had a stress fracture and been jumping. Basically, my navicular, which is a bone in my foot, had been basically cracked halfway through, and was a bit open. So I wasn't in a good place, and they said 6 months to get back, and I was like, cool. And 6 months ticked by, and I was broken into a jog about twice, and it was just not ideal. And I think it probably took me over 2 years to be back competition ready jumping. And just throughout that time, so many setbacks, and of course there was oh my god, am I going to make it back? It would have been so easy to just be like, nah, I don't need to long jump again. Like, I got a gold medal, and that's all good. But I had an awesome team around me who sort of could see this as an opportunity when I couldn't. I was sad. I wasn't going, oh, how can we make this a good experience? I was thinking, God, this is the worst experience of my life. They sort of saw the path where I didn't, and we basically relied on professionals and podiatrist and physio and mental skills. They were, a huge part of getting me back healthy. But it was a lot longer than I had wanted or expected or anything. But I think looking back now, it was probably the reason why I won in Tokyo. I wouldn't want to do it again, but it was, set us on the path of jumping big, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And just, I guess, getting all your ducks in a row, getting yourself completely sorted. But you're stripped down to zero, you're injured, it was all broken and not going well. So you had to reflect on everything and go, actually, what are we doing? How are we doing this? And what could we do better? Sorry, just on the time frames of that. So you Olympics were in 2016. The stress fracture was 2018, was that right?
2017.
2017, and then that's a couple of years before you actually back up and running again. So that's kind of what, 2019? Yeah,
2019, and I went to World Champs in November of 2019. I think it was November, and that was a real. I mean, that I don't know if we ever planned to go there. I think we didn't think I would be ready just because of how things had gone, and we decided, we would go. I'd qualified, and it would be good to get a competition in before Tokyo, a big one, know where we're sitting and all that. And, but I think I felt like that was my chance to sort of prove that I was a long jumper again. And I ended up coming second. And I was only off gold by 2 centimeters. And that was such a confidence booster. I think I got a lot of comments afterwards because the live feed showed me crying. And I think a lot of people thought I was absolutely gutted that I didn't get first, but I was just so happy and so relieved to be back at international competition level and to be jumping, well and coming second. I was just ecstatic. And so, that really set us on. It let me take a breath. I knew that I still had it in me, and I knew that that wasn't the end. That was just the start of where we were going to be jumping, hopefully the next year.
Yeah, nice. Tell us about, you started, following your injury, you started using a prosthesis. Why does that help? Why was it? How does it help? Yes, there we go. So give us a bit of...
So I bought it with me. Obviously, I've got all my stuff here. But so my feet basically are not that good. I mean, I think a lot of people don't use their feet very well, but I started seeing a podiatrist and got a lot of help with them. And I'd never really thought of my disability as, missing a hand as being a big issue or sort of affecting other things. I thought it was sort of localized here, but arm drive is a huge part of how you run. I think any runner knows that if you're not using your arms right, you're not going to go as fast as you can. It's going to be harder, and basically my upper body rotates basically. And I think everyone's does this to an extent, but when you're lopsided, it does it more. And so we decided that, we sort of had a big think about how the stress fracture could have occurred, and this was one option, and we decided that we would look into getting a prosthetic, even if it was just to train with. But it soon became apparent that that was a really big help. So basically have a prosthetic, it slips in. I've got a boa system, if anyone knows stuff like that. And I just click in and and it stays on. It stays on basically just because I've got a wrist. My hand, I was born just below the wrist. So it just basically is tighter below it, and so it can't fall off. Which is awesome, and it's been a really help. So this is my training one. It got 3D printed actually here in New Zealand. So the end is, I think it's titanium, and it's just being painted black. But my competition one is just plastic. So I train with a heavier one, and then in competition, it'll be easier to have. It's better to have less weight. I mean, I've got to throw myself in the air, so the less weight I'm carrying, the better. So I've got a plastic version for competition.
Yeah. So it's just you get a little bit of assistance, I guess, in terms of keeping yourself square with the plastic one, but not so much, just that little bit lighter. So to stop that rotation. So it's the same, I guess, as if you go running and put your hands across your chest and don't use any arms, you have lots of rotation. But if you have one arm, you're sort of lopsided and using one leg more than the other effectively. So it just squares you up. That's pretty cool. And cool to think of a biomechanical thing that you can tidy up. That's all of a sudden mean that you can be more robust and actually go and give it heaps.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I don't use a prosthetic day to day. I feel like they get in the way, but I don't need my hands to do anything much when I'm long jumping or running at the track. And so it just made sense to give it a go. And it's obviously made a big difference. So we'll be keeping that in for sure.
Yeah, that's right. So coming from Dunedin, I studied in Dunedin, spent 5 years down there, so got a pretty good handle of what the weather's about. You've prepared for that intense heat and humidity of Tokyo. Did the weather gods shine on you? What sort of happened on your day of the competition?
They shone on me if they wanted me to feel like it was Dunedin. It was, we'd been preparing. I was probably the least prepared of the team for the heat. We'd done a lot in terms of your generic, what most people would consider being prepared, e.g. getting into the heat as early as possible, doing things, but we've done a lot of hot competitions before. Like every competition we have is, around 30, and we've done a lot of testing in heat chambers with swallowing a thermometer and measuring internal core temperature and doing all that, and we decided we didn't need to go, and I'm glad we didn't, because it meant that I wasn't as used to the heat potentially as maybe some of the others. But we'd planned, we'd got, ice sheets all ready for my vest and had a slushie, and, all the whole works was basically there to make sure I was keeping cold. And I woke up on day of competition. It was, 16 degrees first thing in the morning. It was pouring down with rain. And I was like, bring my coat. He picked out, got the ice sheet and put them in the vest, and we went off to the track. I think we must have been optimistic it was going to get over 30 and stop raining. But anyway, I think I spoke to the the girl from England in my event, and we just sort of talked about how we were potentially the most prepared in the field for conditions like this. And, you know, most of the others train in centres where there's indoor tracks, there's a long jump inside, or they come from countries where it's basically hot all year round, and that was not the case for us. So yeah, I mean, I'm out there most weeks. There's a day where it's a bit average. I mean, New Zealand's, you know, weather is so changeable, and we don't have a choice, so we keep going. I think Brent, my coach, has cancelled training once, and that's when it flooded, and every other day we get out there and we get it done. So yeah, I mean, we were prepared. At least
good. So hanging out in Logan Park on a winter's day, all in, all good. But so Brent just doesn't like you jumping in gumboots. That's his bottom line, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the more that that it was tough to get there because the roads were flooded. It wasn't that it was actually just rainy. It was just that you might not be able to get there, so we better cancel. Sometimes I message him and I go, "Is training on today?" Like, super optimistic that he's going to be like, "No, it's not on today. Have the dark shit out there." But he never does it. He goes, "Yep, see you at 4." And I'm like, it's hailing. Give us a break. Yeah.
So good. In your interviews after you win, you said, "Rio, I won by accident, but this time we did it on purpose." How were those two build-ups different? You've already kind of alluded to it, like you've only done 3 years prior to Rio, and then you did all this preparation for Tokyo. So they're definitely different. But I guess, how did that change the mindset going into Tokyo? Because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'll turn up and do a jump and hopefully I go well. Whereas this time it's all in, isn't it?
For sure. I think that's the thing. Like, Rio was pretty naive. I was so new to the sport. I was new to being a professional sports person. I didn't know. I mean, I was a long jumper, but I didn't know an awful lot about it, or an awful lot about how my own body worked. And that was, I mean, a good thing in a way, because I was still figuring it out. And, you know, when you first start something, you get better and better each week. I was getting a PB week after week after week, and leading into it was just a breeze. I was just, you know, loving it, and I was new, taking it all in. There was no expectations, and went there and yeah, absolutely had a blunder. And I still kind of can't believe that happened, but it set us on a path to this one. And I'm not sure if I hadn't have won in Rio where we would be now. I don't know. It's opened a lot of doors and changed our mindset, I guess, around it. And but yeah, I think when I got injured, we sat down and had a really open conversation. It was with, the first conversation I had was with my gym trainer, and he basically said, "I can see you jumping a really long way. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "What even kind of question is that? Of course I want to do it." And we just sort of had pretty open conversations about what it would take to get there and the things we would have to do. And yeah, basically we set some massive goals, and I was like, "Oh God, we're never going to get there." And slowly but surely we ticked nearly all of them off. And I think that was sort of the mindset change, was like, well, we're going to set that bar higher than we think possible, and we're going to get as close to it as we can, if not further. And some of the goals, you know, especially in the gym, I was just like, "Oh my God, you've got to be crazy. I am a tiny girl who can't lift anything, and you want me to start, you know, lifting huge." But we, you know, slowly but surely we did nearly tick off every single one of the goals he set. And I remember saying, "You are nuts. Like, this is never going to happen. What are you doing?" And you know, if it hadn't been for that sort of switch in mindset, I don't think we would have been here. You know, I think it's real easy to sort of set achievable goals, or what you perceive to be achievable goals. And I think when we set that impossible one, it sort of just lifted the mindset and like the ideas of how we're going to get to this impossible thing. Well, we're going to have to do everything that we can to get there. And yeah, we worked really hard, I think, through the injury. As you said, we had time to get all our ducks in a row. I became a professional athlete a year into doing it, if not even earlier than that. And it kind of meant we started at level 30 instead of level 1, and we got a chance to go back and tick off all the little boxes and work out what was my weakness. And there was a lot of hours, a lot of tears and a lot of frustration that went into the last 5 years. But I think that's kind of what made this achievement sort of sit even, like, it feels sweeter than the last one. I mean, the last one is awesome and it set me on the path to this one, but this one, we did the work. I grew as a person, got faster, got stronger, got better at jumping, but we'd done the work to go with it. So that's kind of how I feel. I obviously didn't win Rio by accident. I'd done a lot of training and stuff, but it was sort of that vibe of being so new and fresh and not expecting it, and to now not expecting it but wanting it quite badly and knowing that we'd done everything that we could to do it.
Yes. So how did you cope with that expectation that you have of yourself and the pressure and the days leading up to that competition?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been so nervous for a competition before, and it's weird because I'm always sort of one of those people that's a bit like, oh yeah, cool, like we'll give it a go, and whatever happens happens. But this one, I think I could feel the weight behind it, the weight of the last 5 years, the weight of Rio, and the weight that I'd put on myself, and the weight that I wanted to represent my team that had got me here really well. And it made me really nervous. I think it was also sort of a bit about in other tours, Rio I was new. London I had a broken foot that I didn't know about. I was injured. Then 2019 I was coming back from injury. And now there was nothing there that I could be like, this is why it maybe didn't go that well. Like, there was nothing that I could say, yeah, this is sort of why it might not go that well. And in my head, I knew I was capable of big jumps. I'd done them this year. I'd got a massive PB and was ranked first. And it was sort of that, that funny place where you feel so ready, but you're so nervous that it might not happen. And I've never been that nervous. But I think the work that we'd done over the last 4 years with, mental skills and the team that I'd built around me, I just sort of had to trust that that we'd done the work and my body knew what to do. And even if my mind was scrambled, my legs and arms would take over. And that's kind of what happened, to be honest.
Yeah, brilliant. So just trusting the process, I guess, leaning on some of the friends and some of that support network that you had there to just share with them how you're actually feeling. Is that sort of what you were doing in the days leading up to it?
Definitely. I think it was sort of about naming the emotions, that I was having, and sort of, I knew I was nervous, but I was nervous that I was nervous because that was a new feeling for me going in, and until I sort of named it and said, I'm scared about this and I'm nervous, it kind of did take that power away from it. And when I felt like that, I was like, well, this is why, and this is a new thing that's not obviously the worst thing, but it's a new thing, and you're prepared and you know what you're going to do, and you can only do as best as you can on the day. And that was basically it, really, but relying on the people that I had around me too.
Brilliant. How long does a long jump competition actually last? And obviously you're wanting to do your best, but it sort of also depends on how everybody else does as well. As you mentioned in the when you got your stress fracture, you were going well at leading, and then all of a sudden jump, and all of a sudden you're fourth.
Yes.
Like how do you manage that? like you kind of like you don't want to say, I hope you do badly, but you kind of do, don't you?
Yeah, I think on the live feed you could hear me screaming in the background when the girl who was in second didn't beat me on the last round. And I mean, obviously, I'm not happy that she did bad, but I'm not sad that she didn't beat me either. I'm stoked. So yeah, it's one of those funny things though, because you kind of have to sort of distance yourself from the medals, because you don't know how other people are going to do, and even if you do your best, other people might do their best and it might be better than your best. So it's kind of about being open and just connecting with what sort of matters. And but yeah, it's scary, and obviously I did it the other way, so I've been beaten in the last round and I've won in the last round, and so anything can happen. And I think because I'd been in both of those situations, I definitely wasn't counting, myself the winner until, it was over, because it could have been anyone's game.
Yeah, that's right. So just, but you were nervous. I think you told me that you were nervous, and then during the whole competition, the most nervous
really
during
nervous
it as well, not just the.
Yes, I think the first jump, getting it in, and it being a big jump, was really made me take it like a bit of a sigh. But knowing the other girls were kind of capable of distances like that as well, I was a bit nervous. So I think I did, and I've said this before. I genuinely thought, I think it was about the third round, where could I throw up here that no one would notice, because I was that nervous, and that's never happened to me before. So it was sort of like, what am I going to do here? But managed to keep it together, and my coach was in the stand, which is sort of one of the first times he's been there, and that made all the difference. Having someone from home who knows what he's doing and knows me and knows how I react to certain things, and that was epic too. That was probably one of the best parts of it, being able to share it with him, because it is half his, basically. He's done just as much work as I have.
Great.
That's right, being there on those cold Otago Dunedin days.
Yep, he's done just as many crappy days at the sandpit as I have, so
So after the race and that excitement, who was the first person that you called?
Ooh, the first person I called, I wanted to see my coach, but as soon as we were finished, you got taken straight under the stadium. In the stadium, there's like a media bunker, so I couldn't actually give my coach a hug. He was right there, but obviously I spoke to him right after. And then our team manager came down with me. I think I must have rang my strength and conditioner, Mikey. He's been a huge part, as I talked about, of setting big goals and sort of changing our mindset around what we wanted to achieve. So I just rang him and we talked about it, and I think we were both on the same page. Like, I wanted to jump further, but to achieve, to go back to back and not, to have timed it kind of almost perfectly, to have won in Rio and then won in Tokyo, but nothing in between. Like, I don't know how we managed to pull that off, but we were both super stoked. And then I rang my family and partner. So made sure I ticked everyone off. It was awesome, because I was waiting till I needed to pee and drug testing. So it made a perfect opportunity to give everyone a call and catch up and stuff. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's next for Anna Grimaldi? What's next on the cards? Obviously, just hanging out till Monday before you get to head down south and catch up. What's next thing on the cards once you get all those hugs out?
For sure. I think it's definitely like I want to take this time. I didn't really have much of a break after Rio, and in the last 5 years, probably the biggest break I've ever had is a couple of weeks. But I probably did training within that. It was just not structured. So I'm going to take a pretty decent break. I'm getting my tonsils out the week I get back, actually. So a bit of another, I've been forced to rest for 2 weeks here, which has been really nice, but I'm getting my tonsils out, so another couple of weeks of rest. But I just really want to take some time to be not another athlete and just sort of catch up with friends, and as Scott said, have a drink and give out lots of hugs and show people my medal, because that's kind of one of the coolest parts about winning, is that you get to share it with everyone. And so I can't wait to do that.
Absolutely. So getting your tonsils out, plenty of time for ice cream. Question of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
My favorite ice cream flavor is cookies and cream, definitely.
Oh, yes, good choice.
Yeah, that's my favorite every time. And I always go into the ice cream place and I go, and I always look and I go, what flavor am I going to get? And I always get cookies and cream every time.
Looking, it's the go-to. Good stuff. You've stole my question, Jess. That's my go-to question. We've got another couple of questions we're going to ask you to finish up. What's your favourite Paralympic sport to watch?
I think I'm probably biased, but I love watching the athletics. I think there's so many events. Like, when you say athletics, what are you talking about? There's throws, running, long distance, but there's like pretty incredible feats in there. People's bodies don't work the way normal bodies work, and they're trying to do events that normal bodies try and do, and it's pretty amazing to watch. But I think all of them, and I mean, it's not until we get to a place like the Paralympics where you get to be around all the other sports and share, you be in a team with them, because obviously for the other 3 years we're all separate into our own world champs and world cups and whatever. So but I mean, I love all of them. I think the Paralympics are an awesome time, and a time where we aren't the odd ones out. The able-bodied coaches and stuff are the ones that are sticking out like sore thumbs. So it's an awesome opportunity to be around heaps of people who have lived similar lives to you or had similar experiences, and that's kind of cool as well. So any and all of them I love watching.
Brilliant. Great answer.
Yeah, cool. Fantastic.
Jess, you got the next one. So let's so a couple more questions. Would you go for a fancy meal or a home cooked meal, Anna?
Oh, right now, definitely home cooked. I think the food in MIQ has been pretty good, but I can't wait to have some home cooked food. But I do like going out for dinner too, so a bit of both. But at the moment, I definitely say home cooked.
Good stuff. 2 more questions. Do you have a scar from playing sport?
A scar?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Like, we played indoor. We're lucky in Dunedin that we have an indoor netball centre, and that the ground in there is that like artificial turf, and any time you fall over on that, you lose your knees and your elbows. And I think I still do have a patch of that one from falling over playing netball, but I don't have any that I can remember. So yeah.
We'll claim that. And where's your favourite place to be in the world?
Ooh, I think home is pretty awesome. Dunedin will always be where I feel the most at home. I mean, it's awesome when we go away to be able to come home and really enjoy it. And I'm really looking forward to doing that too. But we spend a lot of time in Clyde and Central Otago growing up. We go there every summer, and I'm looking forward to heading there for a little bit of a break and stuff. It always makes me feel pretty calm and relaxed, and awesome people there too. So probably both of those places, Dunedin and Clyde, they're my 2 favourites.
Brilliant, Anna. Hey, that's so awesome. Really appreciate your time and appreciate your insights and your energy and enthusiasm. I'm sure you've helped motivate a whole bunch of different people to go out and do some jumping. I feel like I need to go and jump in this kid's sand pit tomorrow.
Yeah, get in the sand pit. You'll never be able to get it. You'll get sand in your shoes and you'll never be able to get rid of it. But that's awesome.
Yeah, so good.
Right.
Well
Thank
done.
you so
Love
much.
your work, and all the best, and look forward to following your journey in the future.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. See ya.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome, Jess. Hey, thanks for pushing the buttons tonight.
My pleasure.
Yep, good stuff. Key takeaway from Anna's chat for you.
I actually wrote down the big takeaway for me was set impossible goals and set these big, ambitious, crazy goals and work towards them. And set that goal and work towards it. Work hard and absolutely. I love that line.
Scott, that's right. And just break it down and how are we actually going to do that, and just step it up and work hard and challenge yourself every day. And if you do that, then you actually make some of those things actually possible, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was
That's
a
good.
great takeaway.
Yeah, I do.
There.
Absolutely. For me, I have to come back to that point that you made of the fact that in Rio that she won by accident, and this time she did it on purpose, just with all that hard work and I mean all the different things that she went through to get there. Super cool to be able to break her performance down and actually put it together and actually be able to execute that on the day as well. So yeah, super cool and great to see just the enthusiasm and sheer joy as a result of actually executing it as well. So that's awesome to be able to have a chat to her.
And we had, great comments coming in about, the kind of fortitude to get through a stress fracture and build up those blocks again and start fresh and work back towards that big goal and to win gold.
Yeah. And we see Gary's mentioned here, what a breath of fresh air, Anna, is a great interview. How good is that? And Francie mentioned as well, well done, Anna, you're still going to have to crack that 6 meter mark. So yes, that's really cool. So fantastic. And brilliant that Anna was able to share. So, hey, thanks, Jess. Thanks for helping to push the buttons, hold things together. Internet will sort of come and go, but I think we got through that okay. And we're good to go and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And thanks for everyone that joined in. And
Brilliant. So we're going to let you know who the winner of our Evo Cycles prize pack. So if you're listening to this a day or two later, feel free to flick a message through or just a comment or maybe jump onto our Facebook page and add a message in. We'll take a week before we sort of pull that winner out of the hat. And well done to Wes for winning last week's True Fleece beanie. And looking forward to catching up with you guys as we go. Our group timetable is now live, so keep an eye out for our summer contours kit as well. Lots going on. Go and have an adventure. Make the most of a bit of extra daylight that's going on, and looking forward to catching up with you all soon.
Great. Bye, Richard.
Well done. Thanks heaps.